Hello and welcome to my review of the Darksword Armory Wallace Collection Bascinet. So what is the Wallace Collection? And in their own words, the Wallace Collection is an internationally outstanding collection which contains unsurpassed masterpieces of paintings, sculpture, furniture, arms and armor, and porcelain. Built over the 18th and 19th centuries by the Marquis of Hertford and Sir Richard Wallace, it is one of the finest and most celebrated collections in the world. So that it could be kept together and enjoyed by generations of visitors, the collection was given to the British nation in 1897. The Wallace Collection helmet, shown here in its display case, is the inspiration for this helmet. So the Wallace Collection A69 Visored Helmet. The Bascinet was a helmet which was popular in the 14th and early 15th century. And for a helmet which had been around for that long a period of time, it would have gone through significant change. The original bascinets were unvisored and didn't have an aventail on the bottom. It was just a helmet which was worn. It could have been worn under an arming cap, and over an arming cap. And mail could have been worn over the bassinet or over top of the arming cap, and then. You see many depictions and artwork from that period where knights have bloated heads, and you'll see that because they're wearing this, the bassinet, and the chainmail over it, and it looks like quite a large head. So it could be worn a number of different ways. Around the 1330 or so, two significant changes became prominent with the bassinet. And one had to do with the addition of a visor. The visor, as you might imagine, through that period of time, went through significant changes. The initial ones were just flat pieces of metal, which covered the face. To make breathing and ventilation better, the shape of that visor started to change as well. This is probably the most famous shape. It's called a pig face or a hound skull bassinet, and you see this pointed shape to the nose. You see ventilation holes on both sides of the visor, less usually on the left, and that was to make the helmet stronger in the left side because that's where they expected a lance to hit off the helmet. So more ventilation on the right, less on the left. And if you notice, the original Wallace bassinet has no ventilation on this side at all. But that was to make that side stronger to better withstand a blow. Slits for the eyes, something for the mouth down below. The shape of the helmet also changed significantly over a different period of times. You'll see it was flat. You'll see rounded shapes, you'll see conical shapes like this one, and as they advanced over time, the rounded and conical shapes were obviously better at deflecting blows than a flat top might be for something to come down right on top of it. The visors themselves could be attached a couple of different ways. A center post called a clap visor, very popular in Germany, one piece that the helmet could go up or down on, or something like this, two pivots that were in place, in this case with removable pins, so the visor could actually be removed, or the visor to go up and down on the helmet. The other significant change was the addition of an aventail, and this would be attached to the helmet. There's a leather piece which goes around that the mail is attached to, and then it is attached to the helmet itself through 21 vervels or studs. And then there's a piece of wire that runs through holes in all those rivets and affixes it in place. The aventail itself is made from a butted chainmail, not riveted, which probably would have been the case at the time. But to do something like that now would make the cost very expensive. And this is more a mid-tier priced item. So to save a little bit on cost, this is butted. It is blackened, and Looks very much like the original in the Wallace Collection. There is a padded liner inside the helmet, and it's actually stitched in place. You can see it through these holes, and it's held in place directly in the helmet. You can secure the helmet then with this tie and tie it in place as you go through there. The helmet itself is made of 18 gauge steel, so it's quite thick and quite sturdy. The exposed pieces on the inside have all been blackened, and that's for maintenance, to lower the maintenance that is required to keep the helmet looking its best on the inside. It weighs about just over 10 pounds, 10 pounds, 2 ounces, and its dimensions are 13 by 10 by 7, and the circumference overall is 23 inches. I've had it on. The mail is still a little oily, so I haven't put it on here today for you because it is on loan for purposes of the review, and I don't want to clean it up too much for display because it has to go back into storage. Overall, I think this is a very good example of a bassinet from the period of time, and it has many of the features of the Wallace Collection bassinet. It's not 100% replica, it's just inspired by that. Removable visor, removable aventail, so you can display this helmet a number of different ways. The way it's shown here, with visor, without, with aventail, without. So it's a very flexible piece, very good example of a bassinet from probably the later period, about 1380 to maybe 1410. But an excellent example, very well made, very good construction, and I think would be an excellent addition to anyone's collection.